The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Hanging with the Talking Cowboys Break.
Now that's a mouthful.
Streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app.
It is a Thursday edition of your brand new, most favorite possible matchup podcast you've ever been a part of, Hanging with the Talking Cowboys Players Lounge.
Oh, okay, all right.
I got you.
I was about to say, because I'll get ready to come with it. Because
I
I
know.
seen the intro.
You looked right up at me as
with
soon
the
as the
Cowboys, and I was
intro
like, hold
happened.
on now. Put some respect on the Players Lounge,
got
all
you.
right?
I
All
got
right.
you.
You my boy for that, always. Always.
Oh, glad you're with us here on this Thursday. We've got Nick Eatman in the house, Barry Church,
Yes, sir.
Nate Newton, Kyle Yeomans, Chris Beam, as always, in the back. And we're going to continue looking backwards just a tad to Mike McCarthy's finishing press conference, into the season press conference that he had yesterday, and then look ahead to what is next for the Cowboys. Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
I'm doing great.
Great.
Smooth ride coming in.
Yeah.
No issues for me.
Zero issues.
What about you? Good?
Yeah, it was all right. Not really. For those of you wondering, I got the ticket.
I mean, you told me pulled over, but you actually got
Yeah,
the
I got
ticket?
the ticket.
Man,
Yeah.
I hate to see it, man.
Yep. First people to know too. I haven't told anybody else, so yeah.
all right.
No, it's okay.
Still made it on time.
I did. I got here on time.
I
That's
don't have
great.
that excuse. I don't know what my problem was.
The reason why is because Nick usually says, "Hey, you ever watch the Cowboys break?" Yeah, I'm Nick Eatman. Oh, really? Yeah.
Oh,
Start
wow.
talking. Oh, go ahead, Nick. Go ahead. Don't be late. Love the podcast.
I've been pulled over twice on my birthday before.
What?
Seriously.
Wow.
And I don't know. And both times.
They let
They
you
just
go.
let you ride.
Happy birthday. Yeah.
Must be nice, man.
That did happen one time going to Wichita Falls. That guy pulled me over on the right side of the road. It was a highway. He rolled the window down. We talked a little bit, and he just started leaning in and was like, "I listen to y'all's podcasts all the time. What's going on with the Eagles game this week?" And I was just like, "We sat there for a while. Cars whipping by. But I mean, if I'm not gonna get a ticket, I'll do
Chop
it."
it up all
right?
day.
Yeah.
This guy said if the Cowboys would have won on Sunday, I wouldn't have gotten the ticket. I'm just
Man,
kidding.
oh, I'm like,
I'm totally kidding. No, he didn't say that. No,
Damn
he
it,
was really
Kellen.
nice. I was going way too
laying
fast.
out on this.
Not going to be a part of it.
man.
I'm on a bad streak, man. I've gotten pulled over a couple times, and I haven't had a warning yet. I've gotten it every single time. I don't know what it is. Maybe I just have a unlikable face, which is fair. But they just don't like my face, and they
It's
give me
probably
a ticket.
because you give them the voice the whole time. "I'm sorry, officer. What was I doing? I pulled over. I thought I changed
apologize.
lanes without signaling." You give them the voice. All right,
man.
Nate's like, "Oh my God, go
Oh,
football."
no, I love it, man.
This is the first time I've seen Nate smile.
No, this is our show. This is what we do on our show. Is we never start with football. There's always other problems.
You got to.
Yeah.
You got-
I feel like I'm on the post game show or the pregame show. I feel like I'm on this. Y'all are on. Was it the pregame show?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And pre and
Pre and
post.
post.
and post.
So I
And
feel-
you're a part of both too.
I know,
Yeah.
but I don't see it.
Right.
I don't see that. I
Yeah.
don't see what y'all did the other day. I sound like that was pretty awesome.
It was the best show.
I know one thing.
ever.
We were better than the football team. Promise you that pre and post.
I did.
Promise you that.
I know. Kyle kind of let us know that. He was
Yeah.
like, well, the season might be over, but we didn't suck.
Well,
Yeah. We
oh,
didn't.
no.
I was giving credit to other people.
No,
I
the
know.
Cowboys
Saying that
didn't suck
everybody else
either. It was
did
just
well.
certain players.
Yeah, you're right about that.
The Cowboys didn't suck. It was just certain parts. Yeah.
That's so true. And that's what's
Which
most
ones?
frustrating. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
which parts?
Let's start. Who sucked the most?
My offensive line.
You hit it spot on with that one.
Yeah, my offensive line. Well, along with the offensive line coach that's connected to the offensive coordinator. Yeah.
And you're
You don't-
taking that personally because you have been saying for a while, especially Fieldman. I know you like.
I love him to death.
Yeah.
And I would have been on the table when Coach Moore, Kellen Moore is his name, right? Would have walked in from up there, I probably would have been beating him down the elevator because you don't do that to your offensive line. You don't take away the little bit of physicalness they have in trying to run and move people. You just let these dudes bore into them the whole game. You don't know what that feels like to get in the huddle. Sorry, guys, another pass. I know we getting beat to death, but let's get beat some more. That's disheartening.
Is it as simple as that? If just the balance of just a couple more run attempts, we were talking about it before the show, even just a couple more attempts to give your offensive line just a tad bit of a break.
Just something. We knew going in, every one of us, what they were good at. They were a physical team. They were a team that was mentally ready to do whatever it took physically. We knew this. Me and you, we the only ones forget. We were Cowboy down all week. We didn't want to hear it.
Right. Yeah.
But you got to acknowledge who they are. We get the coin toss, we win. Mm-hmm. And we know what you like to do, and we're going to give it to you first. That whole game came out wrong. I would have put my offense out there first. If we'd have failed, fine. Back us up defense you always have. Since the 8th game of the year, you've always taken care of us. But don't go out there and that was just bad. And offensively, that was bad. That was bad on our quarterback. This game fell apart after the first drive. After you let them score that 7, this game fell apart. Nick Bosa, was all over our right tackle. All over him. Eric Armstead was owning the middle of our offensive line. Mm-hmm. Why did you do that? And then we got a beat-up left tackle. You know, Tyron is one of the best. You could tell you don't lose it that quick. Yeah. So when he started struggling, somebody should have told the quarterback, man, just take off a couple of times. Mm-hmm. Take this pressure off your offensive line. You let the whole offensive line collapse from the first drive to the end of the game. That's not right. You don't do that. You don't do that because you have to face these guys when you come in the locker room and you have to say something to them. Mm-hmm. Besides, you got given to you this day. That was wrong.
If anything, you would just like to see the attempts. At least, we always talk about this at the show, you don't have to rush for 150 yards. You don't have to rush for 160 yards. But if you give the attempts to these running backs, at least it'll keep the defense honest. Look what the 49ers did. They were rushing 4 players the majority of the time. I mean, they blitzed occasionally here and there, but the mass majority of it was a 4-man rush. Yeah. And the way to get their ears unpinned back is all they were doing. They was pinning their ears back and going because they were like, look, these guys ain't running the ball. All they're going to do is pass the ball. So we're going to come at them every time, every play. Yeah. The way you do that is you give them attempts. Make them be honest with it. Sit there and say, all right, is this a pass or is this a run? Make them think. Make them hesitate a little bit. But we didn't do that. And like you said, Nate, we let them pin their ears back and get after our tackles, get after the interior of our offensive line, and they were in Dak Prescott's lap the entire game. Yeah.
And not only did it take away just the pure aspect of running the football because the run game was non-existent in its own right, but what do the Cowboys do better than almost any other team in the NFL? And that's play action. Their success rate on play action all year long had been one of the highest, top 5 in the NFL, maybe the highest. I'd have to go back and look. And they never got to set that up because there was no run game. With the absence of a run game, there's no play action.
And a part of that, too, is the fact that the 49ers don't rush more than 4 most of the time. Yeah, right. So they're not worried about your play action because they're stopping your run anyway. Mm-hmm. So they got the 7. The problem that I had, and I agree with both y'all about the run, but remember the Tampa game way back, years ago, back in week 1, They didn't even try to run the ball. But what they did was they did a lot of those bubble screens. They went wide on everything. They went Tony Pollard. They spread everything out. We're not going to attempt this. But the 49er game, they didn't. Not only did they not attempt it, they didn't even try to do that. They just tried to kind of throw through that thing. And they're asking Dak to be pinpoint accurate. That is not his strength. I'm not saying he's not accurate. That's not his strength, though. His strength is playing on the run, moving, keeping them off balance. And I don't think they did that.
I am so glad we're not having shows every day.
Painful.
Because Mr. Jones probably called him in his office and set, do like he did, the 2 receivers, Dez and T.O. and say, there's the team here, you here, and we over here, and neither one of us want you anymore.
What are you really saying? You're saying if you had a show every day that you couldn't, your tongue...
They've been firing me, man, because you couldn't have drew up a worse game plan than what we did to our team. I'm talking about from players. See, you couldn't have drew up a worse game plan. it took us all the way. And Kyle heard me crying the whole game. It took us to the third quarter to realize that they was giving us the tight end the whole game. Mm-hmm. It took us to the third quarter to realize that from the line of scrimmage and for 5 yards, they gave it to us. Hey, man, what about a quick slant? We have nobody can run a slant? What about a quick in and out, a Y option? Yeah. We had nobody can do that. I know they had Fred Warner. I know they had Armstead. And I knew for a little while they had Boza. Mm-hmm. But come on, man. All week long I heard this man and this gentleman reiterate, hey, man, they have no secondary. So that's mean let's get some quick passes. Mm-hmm. Let's make some things pop. And we could have been in this game. It wouldn't have came down to, I don't even want to even talk about a guy sliding for just at an opportunity to throw the ball 23 yards into the end zone, and we even talking about that? Come on, that don't make no sense.
To Nick's point, go ahead.
No, go for it.
To Nick's point, it was, that same, they were playing so far off. I mean, we saw it in the show. They were playing cover 4, cover 3 the entire time, and it wasn't like they were pressing our receivers on the outside. They were playing about 4 or 5 yards off. So to Nick's point, why didn't we bring that same Tampa-type offense where we're getting our playmakers the ball in space? Throw a little bubble, like you said, to Tony Pollard, let him do damage. Get a little hitch to CeeDee Lamb out there. He had 1 catch for 21 yards. You talking about the leading receiver statistically wise for the Cowboys had 1 catch. He was out-targeted by their 4th option, Ced Wilson, by 2 times. Ced had 10 targets. CD had 5. To me, that's unexcusable, and it has to go on the offensive coordinator.
Cedric Wilson had 10 targets.
10 targets. 10 targets.
And
5 receptions.
And the last ball of the game. And he got the last.
Oh, you're talking about
4th and 11.
You're talking about the 4th and 11, the drive prior to the final drive. The one we thought was going to be the final drive.
10 targets, Nate.
How do you? This is what I don't understand. And you call it economics. I call it common sense.
I love where this is going. Economics and common sense.
Everybody buckle up.
No.
I don't know if I have either one, but let's go.
You give a running back an average of $10 million a year. You give a wide receiver $20 million a year.
Yeah.
That don't add up, fellas.
That's all you got to say.
Okay. So our running back get 12 carries, and our number 1 receiver gets 6 to 7 targets.
Mm-hmm. Let me say this part about that, and I think that we kind of credited them all year long. Like, I love the fact that Dak doesn't really care. This receiver, they get along. It's kumbaya all the time. It's great, but we ran into issues 4 or 5 years ago when one particular wide receiver who was making more than anyone else was wanting the football all the time. So then Dak was like, all right, well, I'll try to get him the ball and give him 15, 16 targets. But it's not good for the offense.
Yeah.
So there's got to be a balance in it. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I mean, I agree with that. Cooper's going to make this money, CD, you got to get him the football. But part of what was making this work was that Dak was trusting his reads. He wasn't worried about one diva receiver upset all the time. But there's got to be a balance. There's got to be a balance. I mean, it's got to go into the game plan. It's got to be that way, because I think what's happening is they're just looking at the checks and what's happening. Schultz. But that doesn't score a lot of points all the time. You know what I mean? Mm-mm. So
does that go back to Dak being in his head a little bit too much, though? That's kind of been part of the conversation, because if it's not the injury and it's not his capability, then what is it? It's got to be something in his head, right? So that's the $140 million question.
Well, let's go back to the second part there.
Okay.
Capability. I mean, what's he capable of doing? I mean, like, I think Dak is a really good quarterback. I don't think he is the greatest quarterback that can do it all by himself. He can't go into like Green Bay with Allen Lazard and whatever and drag them to the championship game like Rodgers is doing. You can't do that, but that's okay. Mm-hmm. He needs help. He's not getting that. He came into this league as a 4th-round pick and had this offensive line and a running game. He doesn't have that anymore. He needs that. He needs help, and it's okay to make $40 million a year and still need help. That's the way. What quarterback's playing this weekend doesn't need help? One?
Probably one.
Damn,
Yeah, and
I
that's
just won.
Aaron
Tannehill.
Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers.
But I mean,
Tannehill, he's the only one that need help. Tannehill. I got it right?
Oh, you're saying it the other
He's
way
the only
around.
way, yeah.
see, I think they
He
all
needs
need help. I mean, I don't think.
I'm going to tell you something, Nick.
Do it with the mic. Don't push away the
Don't
mic.
leave that behind.
This is what I tell people. I remember 4 weeks ago, some idiot took off all his clothes and just jumped Jack right off the field.
Yeah.
You remember that guy in town?
Yeah.
Barry said, it's over. I said, no, it's not. I said, they got Tom Brady. Even Stanback went, it's over. I said, no, they got Tom Brady.
Okay, so 2 guys don't need help. 2 guys.
What I'm trying to tell you is, if you know your guy needs help, I've been saying this for 4 weeks, and I'm going to say it all offseason. I'm going to say it. And I need the rookie Dak back. That guy that was so impactful in other ways besides throwing the ball, that when it came time to make that play, he could be a little more accurate because they was worrying about other things too. When you just say, I'm going to put this on his back, that is unfair because you paid him knowing his liabilities as well as his assets. And now you're trying to play more to his liabilities than his assets, you're not going to win any games. You're not going to win the big games. His asset is doing everything. That read option, do we do a lot of that now where he has the multiple chances of either running the ball, throwing the ball, or handing the ball? Do we see a lot of that? We see a lot of drop back. Do we see him rolling out, moving around? When the pocket collapsed early, do he take off and slide and get those 3 yards anymore? None of that. Those are all assets. No, we dropping him back. Okay, make a read. Well, teams are dropping back now. Saying you got this read gonna be a little bit longer, and when you get into the playoffs or towards the end of the year, those 4 or 5 guys become detrimental to your life. But you're gonna stand there. No, you can't do that. You have to go back to what makes you. You improve on what makes you. You don't improve on what your weaknesses is. You can't. Because that's not you.
So do you think these coaches put him in too high a regard? Like they think he's, one of these quarterbacks that can do it on his own without a running game? Do you feel like they put him up there too high? Yeah,
he can't.
Yeah.
Well,
He can't. Every time we've played a team where the quarterback was equal to him or better, the quarterback that was equal or better won.
yeah.
See, I love Dak, and I was beating. Pay Dak, give him $80 million because I thought we was gonna pay for the Dak that we've seen.
Yeah.
Dak with a
Not
run
for
game.
the Dak, not the Dak with no run game,
Yeah.
not the Dak that not gonna run. And you know what? I'm getting out of here, man. Before Mr. Jones them call me out, because I got to tell the truth.
No, I know, but listen, you want rookie Dak. I get it. How about the center that was snapping him the ball?
The whole offensive line.
All-pro center,
how about 2016 Tyron? I bet they would like to have rookie Dak's contract. That'd be great.
The thing is, when we had those bad games before, Dak would take off and run and slide. I ain't saying run and with somebody on your back and drag somebody, but don't put yourself in. This game was. In the first quarter, we sitting up there eating in the stadium. It was great out there.
It was a
The
good
stadium food was on point.
We
That was
sitting
on
up there
point.
and after I saw the first drive for both the offense and defense, I looked over at Church. I looked over at Stanback. I said, this game over.
I said that too.
I said, this game
After
is
the
over.
opening drive?
10-0.
Yeah, 10-0. I said, this game
I
is over.
have a buddy that texts me every game. And usually it's a coin toss. They lose it or whatever. And it's just something negative. He's like, it's over. And that's just his way of throwing it out there. But when he said that, and I said, I agree. And I never do. I usually say, shut up. When it was 10-0,
Yeah.
I thought it was over. I really
They got
did.
bullied.
I was like, they're not. You
They
can't
got
win.
bullied,
They got
and,
bullied.
and nobody made an attempt to change it.
Yeah, you had no response.
Yeah, the players didn't change it. The coaches didn't change it. And I'm saying to myself, and the people that had the chance to change it was Coach Kellum and Dak. I'm not going to blast Coach McCarthy one way or another. I'm not until this next season starts. And then if you don't have more input into what is happening on this team, because I read some say, I've been in this league before, I've been a playoff coach, I know what it takes to win. Well, if you know that right there, you would have knew that running that ball was very, very necessary. Or running a bunch of screens, which all of his teams at Green Bay were very, very good screen teams.
Yep. And when we come back, we're going to talk about some of the things that McCarthy said specifically in his press conference because he felt like they were in a good position. He said it. We felt like we were in the best position we could have been going into the playoffs. So why was that execution? Was it a lack of adjustments? Was it the coaching staff? Was it the personnel? We'll continue breaking it all down for you when we come back right after this.
In a lot of ways.
Adjustments.
There's nothing as unique as our eyes, which is why Essilor pioneers ways to make lenses as unique as you. Verilux for super sharp vision, Essential Blue for protection, and Crizal for freedom from glare. 3 cutting-edge solutions in a single unique lens. So whatever your needs, insist on Essilor. Visit your local Essilor experts and find the perfect lens for you. See more, do more, Essilor.
New Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. You deserve it.
I do deserve that.
You deserve decadent flavor without sugar. And a day at the beach without sand getting everywhere. And a relaxing bath that your children don't interrupt.
I deserve all that?
It's really just a visual metaphor for Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. Everything you want, nothing you don't.
A visual metaphor on the radio. I do deserve that.
Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. The zero you deserve is finally here.
At AT&T, everyone, new and existing customers, get our best deals on every smartphone. Why? Because you deserve it. For turning your living room into your office and your gym. For teaching Grandma how to video call. And teaching her again.
It's the button on your left, Nana. Okay, your other left.
It's not complicated. Everyone deserves something new. So AT&T is giving everyone, new and existing customers, our best deals with every unlimited plan on every smartphone, even the latest ones.
AT&T may temporarily slow data speeds if the network is busy. Restrictions and exceptions may apply.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with... And I'm Jay Novacek. And we're both with... United Ag and Turf, the official tractor provider of the Dallas Cowboys. So, if you need a tractor to bale some hay, a mower to cut some grass, or a gator to get some chores done... Get a John Deere at United Ag and Turf. And then, let's get to work. Hey, Jay, that's my line. Well, not today.
Get to work with a John Deere tractor package that's just right for you and your budget. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com.
This is Hangin' with the Talkin' Cowboys break.
Now that's a mouthful. Streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Back here from the Star in Frisco in the SWBC studios, here with Nick Eatman, Barry Church, Nate Newton. I'm Kyle Yeomans. I almost went through that whole process, and like you were saying with pregame and postgame, I almost went through y'all's two's name, and instead of saying my own name, I almost said Isaiah Stanback. Yeah. Almost did it just because of the
muscle
way
memory,
it all
man.
rolls off the tongue and that the way it has been. But
I look like Isaiah. A little bit. No,
Yeah.
It's a little
Neither
lighter.
do
That's
I,
it.
but-
A little lighter.
Put some dreads in and get a perfect.
it'd be a perfect match.
probably in better shape than me.
Me too.
Just slightly though.
Just a tiny
Well, a
bit.
guy who don't eat any meat, man, he sure eats some sweets, don't he?
Yeah, he does.
Hey, them crow nuts.
Yeah,
They've been
crow
bringing them
nuts.
crow nuts.
Yeah,
Whatever happened to where somebody's supposed to race?
Yep.
What's going on?
It's supposed to happen in the spring.
Supposed to.
What's the deal? Is it Isaiah versus you?
It's like a whole Olympic thing, right? We're gonna have a race out there, then we're doing something where Nate can join us as well.
Like eating contest with me and Nate.
I don't like
some ribs
saying
on there.
It's like we get these bean bags and throw them through a hole. I don't like saying the word. So
Cornhole?
No, not really.
Yeah, we can do that too. We can do that too.
Yeah,
is that?
I call Beam.
Wait, was
Me
that?
and Beam already
Beams are
hooked
talking
up.
Cowboys.
Beam is nice. Beam nice on the
me and Beam already hooked up. We already
okay.
teammates.
He's
So that was something
unreal.
that Chris was like, "Oh, what can I do to get? I'll
Yeah.
smoke all y'all."
There it is.
Yeah, and I'm
Cornhole.
riding with it. I'm riding with it.
Does he have his own? He probably got his own bag and everything.
I'm
Oh man,
Custom made.
Custom made. Huh?
Heckma and Newey, y'all can get in on this.
Heckma and Newey.
y'all can get in on this. It's me and Chris Beam.
I have more than one set of bags.
Oh, see,
And boards. and
aerodynamic, everything. huh?
Man, come out to training camp with us, and you'll hear just like every night.
Ask Derek about it.
Yeah, do it right by Derek's door, and then that's such a good idea. I had Beam beat one time.
You did?
I was up on him. He wasn't really paying that much attention or something. I don't know what was going on.
Did he lock in?
No, I was like, you're playing to 21. I mean, it was like 17 to 10. I was like, I got this. being through like 4 in a row, like that didn't even hit. He just swished 4 in a row, hit 12 points, and I didn't get anything on the board, and I lost. He was just like, "What's the score?" And I was like, 17-10.
What's good?
Watch out! Watch out!
Wait a second.
And he seriously swished 4 in a row. Just
17.
boom. I was like,
So when we start, when the spring comes, I'm gonna be ready. I'm gonna start practicing.
I gotta see it, man. I gotta see it to believe.
I can't wait.
We winning.
Sure.
Well, I'm winning. I don't know what the rest of my team going to do. I got beans.
But you're getting in there.
Yeah.
I like
Barry,
it.
who's gonna win in a race between you and Danny?
Danny. Danny was always faster. Danny was always faster.
Oh, so my boy Standback ain't faster than you then?
I just asked about.
No, Danny was always faster.
No chance against Danny.
Danny didn't eat for 3 months. I mean, like, is he back to normalcy again?
I think so. I mean, he gained his weight back a little bit, so we're gonna see. We're gonna see. But he was always
my boy
faster.
Standback can't get you.
No.
I love how he's at the bottom of the list now. Like he wasn't even just like he thinks he's going to win the whole thing, and you guys are just not giving him Isaiah.
He is.
What makes you believe that? Just because it's physique?
Because I know of somebody that can't dance. Who always.
What dancing got to do with this dance?
I can tell you why I think so.
Why is that?
2008 Felix Jones kickoff return against the Eagles. I saw him running, but I saw Isaiah way back over here and running as fast. I mean, he outran everybody. Like I saw a ton of speed.
We talking 15 years ago.
For you too, though.
We talking that. I wasn't even in the league in 08. So what you talking about? What you talking
Barry's
about?
playing the youth card here.
What we going on here? We going by 2008.
Barry's got some aerodynamic advantages
already.
too up front.
Already.
All I know is when the cameras get its brightest and it's time to shine, somebody done backed out on me. Not once, but twice.
What happened?
Dancing.
I had to save your knees.
You did.
I had to save your knees.
You did back out. Barry did back out of the dance
twice.
contest.
So I ain't saved your knees with that?
Twice. You saved my knees.
All right, then. You know what? Your hips is next. All right? I ain't messing with you no more, man.
You know what we're really doing here? Like, Kyle, like what's really happening is we're getting Nate smiling again. That's really what we're doing.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that big smile.
Yeah, man.
The Cowboys got you down. Smiles.
I need to go back out to Dion and get me a bologna sandwich.
That's what.
Oh, there you go.
That's funny.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, he was all smiles until about 7 o'clock on Sunday. Maybe a little earlier, maybe like 3:45.
We was hyped for a second.
Sunday.
When we was outside watching it on the Titantron, he was hyped.
He was back for a second.
He was for a second.
When Schultz caught the pass, the second to last drive, which we thought was the last drive. You know, they got 90 yards to go.
Sure.
Schultz gets
38 yards.
Yeah. Y'all thinking they're going to do this?
I was definitely thinking.
Yeah.
Now, I thought they were going to score. Did I think they were going to take the lead? I wasn't sure just yet that they would take the lead.
You know when I saw the slide? I saw the slide in a review with him.
Yeah.
Because we had to talk about it. Up until that, Schultz did. I stopped watching the game.
What?
Because it was over. It was over. You was asking a team that was mentally beat, and that they was fighting. The Warriors fight, but they was mentally beaten, bro.
Yeah.
They was beaten. And,
I will back him up on this because when the almost fumble happened with with George Kittle, the way the ball hit the ground, everyone on that stage was freaking out. I mean, everybody, we were jumping around. We thought it was there, and Nate was just sitting there.
Yeah,
Nate was planted at his table. He had already. I'm almost certain he had the headset already on.
Yeah,
he was ready for postgame. He was already at that point. He never really got to the "we're going to do this" sort of. Like dragging along, and I'm sure there were Cowboys fans out there that were the same way. That were just like, all right, like this is going to happen. They're going to get close, and then it's going to let us down. But yeah, it was
it's tough.
It was tough. Now, kind of going back to our conversation in the last segment, and also tying in what Mike McCarthy had to say yesterday. He had about a 45-minute press conference and kind of tied a bow on the regular season. Nick, did anything specifically stand out to you about what McCarthy said yesterday and kind of the way that game kind of conspired toward the end?
Well, I mean, whatever he saw on their faces, he thought they were nervous. He tried to take it back and change the wording, but he saw something as a coach who's been doing it for a long time, and whatever he saw on their face, he didn't like, obviously. And it played out that way. It played out. It was 10-0, 13-0. And I don't know specifically what it was, but that's one thing that kind of stood out. I mean, Some of the other stuff was kind of coach speak a little bit. I didn't think a whole lot came out of that. I mean, what about y'all?
I'm gonna tell you something. All I read was the statement he made.
Which one?
About the playoff team. He know what it looks like and what it takes.
Mm-hmm.
And that probably wasn't even a part of his press conference. But you have to help your players. One thing that Jimmy was good at was looking at his team, and if you know that your team is tight, you got to have something there for them. If you look at your players, and I see everybody's tight, not smiling, or they doing something out of character, you have to have a player or a situation that you can allude to help them break that.
All right. That being said, I got a defensive guy, offensive guy here. You think your team's a little bit tight. You go out there and you got a chance. You win the toss. As if your team's, you got the crowd, you got the white towels going. Do you think it's better to go out and execute on offense, or do you think it's better to go play fast on defense? I mean, we saw what happened defensively, but generally speaking, I would have thinking a tight team would be better to play defense.
That's my thinking. I'm always thinking, well, I'm a defense, so I'm a little bit biased, but I'm thinking you got to put a defense out there first, because usually your defense is your tone setters. Yeah. They're going to go out there, and if they're going to either smack them in the mouth and get the ball back for your offense, and your offense takes off from there, or like we've seen, in that San Francisco game, you're going to get bullied in that first drive, and they scored pretty much easily going down the field running the football, and that set the tone for the whole game. After they saw the defense get bullied and back down into the end zone, the offense is like, oh man, here we go again. We're going to have one of those great games, and when your offense isn't performing as great as it has been, the rest of is history.
Just to play devil's advocate here, just because of the lack of confidence that was on the offensive side of the ball, right? I mean, initially your first thought is going to be, let's throw the defense out there, let's let them set the tone, and then when things go wrong, it goes really wrong, which is what happened.
Yeah.
Why would you, or would there be a possibility, rather, of throwing the offense out there and saying, we have confidence that you're going to go set the tone because of the lack of confidence and the lack of execution that they had previously? Or you could build off of the fact that they had 2 in the last 3 regular season games where they've had 50-plus points. Hey, you go set the tone. Here's your offense. We invested our money on that side of the ball. Let it happen.
You said it all. If you don't believe that you have your best players, let me say this right quick, like, the most resilient coach on this team, our set of coaches on this team, was our defense. And what I mean by that, their first 6 games, they were decimated. And Coach made it all happen. He kept these guys together. He kept everybody playing just good enough so our offense continued to run. Our offense took a major turn 7th or 8th game into the season, but our defense got players back. And they kept this thing at a high level, whereas our offense just puttered along. What we needed for this game here is for our offense to step up and try to run the ball, to try to take some time off. Because one thing I've always said is, if our defense plays less than 30 minutes, 29-59, if they play less than 30 minutes, they could make plays. They could make big plays. They can turn the ball over because they're fresh. But if we don't make an attempt at doing that right there, and we're going to be the team that's playing the 29-59, we're going to lose the game. I would put my offense out there, and I would have called what Nick Saban like to say, do not waste a play. That means if we have to run the ball, do not put a tight end out there that has not blocked nobody all year so he can hit us 3 yards in the backfield. I'm going to put them big hogs out there, 7 of them. I probably would have dressed 8 of them, and we'd have just started moving down the field periodically with Zeke. But we didn't do that. We put the defense out there, got hit in the mouth. Then we put the offense out there with a hard behind tight ends and got hit in the mouth. You can't do it. We got to draft a run. We got to get us some run tight end.
And of course, what ended up happening was worst case scenario anyway. So it's all a moot point. But at least you can go back and look at it and say maybe the offense would have had a better shot if they would have went out there first.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard. I mean, it's hard to argue that now once you saw what the
exactly.
Defense did. I mean, I've heard coaches say, they even look at the crowd and go, well, look what the crowd is going to be like on defense for them to start the game versus at the end of the halftime, which people still think halftime is 30 minutes even because of high school when it's only 14.
Yep.
So they go out and they do whatever and they get stand in line. You come back and I mean look it's just empty and quiet. It's easy for teams to move the ball. So I've heard. I mean, coaches have said that too. I mean, they really look at the science of that. But I think more than anything,
you know what the science was, Nick? You know what the science was?
It's not my favorite subject.
You had the ball. You had the ball coming out. And it makes it so bad. They say, we'll give you a second try. We're going to show you again why you ain't no good. Boom. They get a block, roughing the pass, roughing the kicker.
They got lucky there.
You got another chance again. What did you do?
Squandered it.
You squandered. This is why I'm telling you, this dude do the draft show, right?
Yep.
If y'all are not beating down the walls for a second, third, or fourth round pick offensive lineman, if y'all not beating down the walls for a third, fourth, or fifth round blocking tight end, it's gonna be the same next year. It's gonna be the same because if you can't run the ball against the big boy teams, which you got a first place schedule, if you can't run the ball, then it's gonna all be about passing.
Yeah. Well, quit being so arrogant and thinking that your center is
Travis Frederick
can get the job done. He can.
He's
we've
not
said it
Travis
all year
Frederick.
long. We've said it all year that this guy. I mean, and they didn't give him any competition. They didn't.
Nope.
They just said, "Here's our guy," and it didn't make any sense.
Sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes,
for confidence.
Yeah,
You're saying
no. Sometimes you gonna have a lesser player because they probably didn't have no dominoes to get them slapped down there. Who the competition left, and it was Looney.
Yeah.
That when he left, I was like, wow, there's the competition. But it's guys we know that we can't talk right now because they tell us that's tampering because we may know something. But it's centers out there.
Yeah.
But are they willing to pay? Are we so backed up on the cap that we can't get these guys? But you knew in order for your two tackles to survive, we had to have a strong middle. We didn't have that strong middle.
Well, to me, they bought a $140 million house. They invested in the house.
Yeah.
Anybody that buys a house like the Cowboys just bought, better get them a damn fence to protect
a
it.
retaining wall.
And they don't have to build a moat.
Need you a big retaining wall, man.
Like Church got around his crib.
You got to have a retaining wall. You got to.
Right. You're protecting the house,
Protect
right?
it. You got to protect that asset. You got to.
I'm not trying to be like Eric Abagu here, which I don't even know what that reference, but you got to protect the house.
Got to protect it. Well, and you look at it now moving forward, you have a chance to redo that offensive line. And Nate, you said third or fourth round offensive line pick. I'm going to be banging it down in the first round. I'm going to be banging on that door at 24 saying if one of these guys falls, there's a guy from Iowa. Lindenbaum is his name. Center from Iowa.
You ain't getting him.
I don't think you're going to get him either unless you trade up to go get him, or if he pulls a CeeDee Lamb. I would run to the star and back. I would do that one again.
Oh, you going to do
I would totally do that for Lindenbaum. I would do it for Lindenbaum.
So
I would totally do
let me ask y'all. So is center for y'all the main priority offensive line need? Is that
for me?
I'm saying that
yes.
in terms of fit, but yes.
Because of I love the value. At 24. I mean, at 24, if you wanted to get any other position, it's going to be hard to think.
You're not going to get a top left tackle or top tackle at 24.
But a guard or center at 24, you're probably getting the second, maybe third best guy. And if there's a stud like that in Iowa, that means the second best center is probably pretty good too.
Yeah.
Just think about Frederick at 32. Everyone was like, this pick, but it turned out to be
amazing.
It's going to be a boring pick, especially when the last two picks in the first round for you have been CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons. You've had two really exciting picks. This year you're going to be like,
and one of them can't get the ball because the center is not any good.
Ooh, good point.
It's
a great point.
But it affects everything.
It does. Yeah. It does. The reason why Rookie Dak was Rookie Dak is because you took the boring pick with Zach Martin and Tyler Frederick and kind of built that line. You built that fence before you had a house. And then guess what? You found that. Well, I guess you technically had a house. You had Tony Romo. But you figured it out along the way. And you're going to have to find that again here.
Broken down, though. The back of the house.
Not the back door.
The back of the house wasn't working so well.
The foundation.
All right, let's take our second break. When we come back, we wrap things up and we look ahead to the offseason a little bit more here from the Star in Frisco.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys? Jack Black. Right now, you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
At AT&T, everyone, new and existing customers, get our best deals on every smartphone. Why? Because you deserve it. For turning your living room into your office and your gym. For teaching Grandma how to video call and teaching her again.
It's the button on your left, Nana. Okay, your other left.
It's not complicated. Everyone deserves something new. So AT&T is giving everyone, new and existing customers, our best deals with every unlimited plan on every smartphone, even the latest ones.
AT&T may temporarily slow data speeds if the network is busy. Restrictions and exceptions may apply.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way.
Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Before there was a draft, you could size up a cowboy by 3 simple factors: the crease in his hat, the bend of his brim, and his unbending attitude. A man Stetson didn't just protect him from what life threw at him, it projected a rugged, unstoppable spirit. Stetson hats are still American-made with pride right here in Texas. They're still the unofficial crown of all self-respecting cowboys, and Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find a retailer nearest you at stetson.com/cowboys.
This is Hangin' with the Talkin' Cowboys break.
Now that's a mouthful. Streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Hanging with the Talking Cowboys break Players Lounge
Appreciate
here at
it.
the
Appreciate
SWBC
it.
Morgan Studios. I have to get
Appreciate
all 4
it. Put some
parties
respect on
involved.
Episode
It took me a
1.
little bit. Yeah, right.
So, Beam, that's McBride. No.
We need to find like a what are those? Where the first letter of every word, abbreviation.
Oh,
I forgot what that's called. I'm blanking on the name of that. I'm gonna find it at some random point in this last segment, and then I'm gonna bring it back. Nick Eatman, Barry Church, Nate Newton. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Chris Beam, as always, in the back, and we're wrapping things up as the Cowboys. Of course, you've probably heard it by now if you're listening to this show. They've lost to the San Francisco 49ers.
What if you didn't? What if you just started on and be like, God, I hope we beat the Bucs this week. Like, I'm just going to go listen to this show.
You just completely blocked it completely out. I'm like, oh, they're probably previewing the Bucs by now.
They missed bully ball, man. They missed it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and it does. It's not fun for Cowboys Nation right now, and we're frustrated along with you.
I don't do shows with y'all on a regular basis. My point to it all was, and I said this because I picked them to win. I thought they would win, and I wrote this that I didn't want to see it. I just didn't want to see it. But what they showed us in that game was what they showed us all year. They have slow starts. They don't run the ball. They have accuracy issues with their quarterback. The offensive line in the middle is not very good. They don't play well against the better teams.
Penalties.
And
Undisciplined.
And penalties and undisciplined at play. And we've seen it all year, and I just wouldn't allow myself to believe it because I wanted to see it so bad. And that's bad journalism right there, honestly. I admit it. That's bad. I saw the warning signs. I didn't want to see them, and I kind of blocked them out. Like, they'll get better. It'll get better. This season seems different. And it wasn't. And I apologize to our fans for that because I wasn't as honest as I should have been because I wanted to see it so bad. And
that Arizona game gave us the study guide, man.
It did.
They gave us the study guide for the test. And basically, that's the same game that happened against the 49ers.
And you're not alone in that fact. I know you apologize. Really, really well-written article, by the way. Go check it out on DallasCowboys.com. But it was that way for a lot of people. I was in that boat as well. It was my first playoff run, but I've been a Cowboys fan my entire life, and I've wanted that as well. I've never seen it, though. So I also kind of took that with a grain of salt. I wanted to see it happen. I wanted to get there. And you always just kind of gave the benefit of the doubt, which is gone from this point forward, just by the way. You always gave the benefit of the doubt because of the talent on this team, because you expected CeeDee Lamb to have that undercut, to have those slants, and probably the best yak receiver in the history of the NFL in his first 2 seasons in the league. And then you turn around and he's got one catch for 21 yards. And it's at the latter part of the game where they gave you the entire field, basically.
And you got out-targeted by your fourth option.
Yep.
Because you put in Coop, Lamb, Schultz. Yep. Then maybe said Wilson.
You thought Tony Pollard coming back was going to play an impact?
4 touches?
4 touches. So there's frustration all the way around. And like Nick said, you saw the warning signs, but you still felt like it would click. You still felt like there was that inch of hope. And it never really clicked, Nate.
Because you thought that the head coach, being a Super Bowl coach, would make that move. You thought he would make that call that would determine the game. You got a defensive coordinator that's a Super Bowl coach. You thought they would make that move, and I think he did it in the second half with his defense. But we never saw that move. We never saw that play that would give you the chance to change the game. And when your coaches can't make that move, man, maybe it's a lack of talent. Maybe they don't have enough experience. And I'm not talking about the head coach. I'm talking about the coordinator. You as a player, he's an ex-player. He played on a high level. And I'm talking about Coach Kellum. He should know better. He should know better as a coach. He should have that play or that move or that you make him see or make him feel like, okay, he tried there. But as the playoff teams, which when you've been on, you know that run game is so big. You know, and my run game is a little bit more than just handing the ball off. My run game is what Tom Brady did last year with the big back from Jacksonville, from LSU. Hey, man, I'm finna throw this out here. I don't think their outside linebackers can deal with you. I don't think a safety can deal with you. Here's my screen game. I don't think you can deal with that. Not with Pollard. And so you never made those moves to give your offensive line a chance to readjust. You never made those moves to make your running backs a part of the game. And I don't care what nobody says. At the end of the year, when Tom Brady had Randy Moss, who got the most passes?
Yeah.
Who got the most touchdowns? Aaron Rodgers been riding by himself, but the last 2 years, and the guy missed an average of 2 games a year, who gets the most passes?
Adams.
And so I tell people, Michael Irvin, who got the most? We had Alvin Harper, we had Kevin Martin, we had a host of guys. But when you have a stud receiver and a stud running back, you take advantage. That's why it's more than one position. You have 3 different conventional wide receiver positions that Maury is smart enough to know, so you move him around. You have CeeDee Lamb, who's a big play ready to happen. You move him around. You force him to grow. See, the reason I never went along with 88, the other 88, the reason I never went along with him because he didn't want to grow up here. But when you got 2 guys that are willing to grow, but you as a coordinator don't give it all to them, that is your fault. You know, the second 88 did not want to grow. All he wanted to do is, hey, man, run down the field and I'll throw it up.
Yep.
I ain't got no room for that, brother.
It worked for the first 3 or 4 years. Yeah. But when athleticism
leaves,
catch up to you, and then
now you forced to get to the open guy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm with you, man. It's a big year for Coach Kellum.
Yeah.
You know, I thought the drive at the end of the first half was the one that bothers me the most because there was a play in there on second, and it was after the penalty on Lyell, and then Bosa gets hurt. It's 1st and 20. Dak rolls to the right. Cooper's right there. Throws 6-7 yards. We'll see if he gets upfield and gets 8 or 9 because it's 1st and 20.
Yeah.
He doesn't set his feet. He throws it to Jarwin, who's, still getting his feet wet again. Bad throw, incomplete. Jarwin's not going to be adjusted on the fly and all that. Now 2nd and 20. And I know he's not Tom Brady, but the reason why Tom Brady does what he does is because he's going to not be greedy. He's going to take that and knowing that I'm trying to get field goal range here right into the half. And then, whether it be the coach or whatever, why are you throwing the ball into the sun? There's one little patch of sun. And why is your guy turning around with no eye black on and just trying to catch it and doesn't even see it? And he even said afterwards, I asked him, he was like, Cedric was like, I mean, there's nothing I could do. And I was like, what about eye black? He was like, I don't put that on my face. Okay, cool. Well, then don't run to the middle of the field.
Yeah. Stay away from that point of the gridiron. I mean, that's it.
And I said that to the guy next to me. I was like, whatever you do, just don't throw it right there. You got to get you 3 points. Why isn't the coach not saying that? Why aren't we saying, well, we don't have curtains up here. We're not doing that. That's fine, whatever.
But the play was lost on first down when you could have got to 6 and you could have been in second. Second and what, 13?
Yeah.
Second and 14? See, that's what bothers me, is when you come to the sideline and here go Kellum and this guy, our quarterback, and they looking at the paper, and I hope Kellum is saying, hey, man, how did you miss this?
Yeah. I mean,
how did Doug Nussmeier reading them say, hey, Dak, you had Amari right there in front of you. Well, how did you miss that?
I mean, look at what Mahomes. How he went through that whole patch earlier this season where, earlier this season, all I want to do is chuck it deep. I want to chuck it deep. I got to have these huge plays. And they were struggling as an offense. Yeah. But then as they reined it in, and you saw Mahomes started taking those checkdowns, letting his playmakers, do what they do in space. And for some reason here with this offense, we don't do that. Nope. We don't give our guys a chance in space. We want to do the chunk plays. We want to take the big plays off the top.
I want to ask one question before we leave. I want to ask one question. Give me, and I asked for 2, I just want 1. Give me my number 1 pass route that we can count on our offense. Number 2, give me my number 1 run play that we can count on offense.
That's your problem.
Yeah. Don't have one.
That's and you're basically what you're asking is what's your identity? Yeah. Because what's your bread and butter? Right. And they don't have that. They do not have a running play like that.
And it goes back to the early conversations with this offense and kind of what you were talking about at the beginning of this segment. With you have so many talented guys. You've got the Amari Coopers and the CeeDee Lambs, and you heard this word all offseason long. You heard it through the first 8 weeks of the season. Versatility. You had versatility on offense, and then all of a sudden that versatility did another V word. It vanished on the back half of the entire season. You didn't have that same kind of versatility, and you don't have an identity because of it. Because that probably was your identity early on, was you could do so many things to keep a defense off balance, to challenge defensive coordinators and the best players on every other side of the football, and you didn't have that. You didn't have that identity. You just came in hoping it would be your identity, and hope is not a strategy.
After the Bucs game, for 5 or 6 games, watch. The one thing that was constant was you had some type of run game. Mm-hmm. Now you get the injury to Dak, come back and let's watch the run game diminish for no reason.
Well, I mean, a partially torn PCL on a knee. I mean, is that not a reason?
That's a reason.
Because that's what.
Why did you bring Clemens? Every team, go back and look at every team that lost their main back. Did they stop running the ball because they lost their main back?
Look at Tennessee.
No, you don't do that. See, that's the problem. The out is, hey, okay, if when Zeke said I had this, I was over there saying, don't do that. I don't care. That don't give you excuse. If you had a torn whatever, get out of the game.
Okay.
Yep.
And let a better player get in there. And Coach Johnson, and I'll give you an example before I leave. My knee was messed up real bad. And we was on our second Super Bowl. And we was up in Denver, and the dude bull rushed me, hurt my knee. Coach Johnson looked at me and said, "You okay?" I said, "Yes, sir." He let me finish the game. He came to me a couple of weeks later, said, "Nate, let me tell you something, man." He said, "I can get a player prepared, and I can prepare this player for what he can do." He said, "Don't hurt this team because you think you're better when you're crippled." He said, "You're not going to lose your job. Let me play this guy, and next week you can get your job back." And I never forgot that, and I never will forget that.
Did you sit out?
Yes, I had.
Do you think
you sit out?
Yeah.
Do you think the coaches would say that to Zeke now, though?
Who was the backup? Who was the backup?
Kevin Gogan.
Okay, Kevin Gogan ended up going to a Pro Bowl after, like Kevin. I mean,
it don't matter.
Well, but
what you missed what I said. I will prepare this player for what he can do.
You're saying the same thing for Pollard.
Put Clemens in there.
Or Pollard, yeah.
Put Pollard in there, and don't tell me they can't block, because every time we panic, the only answer to us panicking is an empty backfield, so we ain't worrying about the blitz no way.
Yeah.
Every time we panic, it's an empty backfield, fellas.
So why do you think that the running game was good at the first of the year and then it wasn't at the end?
Hellman helped me to this, and I looked at a little film. We had both tight ends, and people played us for that. They played us for that, so that left our run game a little bit open. Guys blocked a little bit better, But isn't our job as offensive line coaches and offensive coordinators is to find that way where we was trapping, we was getting guys out on the edge, not at first, but as the season went on. You don't get away from that. And I'll always say this right here. A part of my run game is the screen game, and a part of my run game is getting that ball to those running backs quick. That's the 49ers won a Super Bowl not once but twice with that. So now if you're copying plays and going out and getting plays, look at those teams that win Super Bowls and how they did it with no run game. I'm telling you, man, it's too many answers because we have too much. The window is slamming shut on us, fellas.
It may have already slammed
shut on us.
Yeah. You don't know it yet, but it could have already slammed shut, if you're being honest. And I think there's parts to it that I agree with you with. The other part is Zeke is getting paid $60 million, $90 million to be a number one lead back.
Bell cow back.
And even if a coach comes up to you and says, listen, Zeke, hey, I know you're hurting. Let's take a month. Let's take 2 months off. Let's get you ready for the playoffs. Let's get ready to roll, right? Then when you come around to this point and either you do make it to the mountaintop or you don't make it to the mountaintop, whatever the end result is, it's not the coach's decision to come to Zeke and say, listen, we may need a little bit more of that investment back because you missed 6 games, you missed 7 games. It happens all the time. NFL is a business, so maybe that went into the thought process from Zeke saying, I'm not coming out of the game unless my knee is detached from my body.
And as a player, when you see your backup balling like that,
that's another thing.
You're not going to be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to take a month off. No. I mean, I don't care who he is. If you see your
it's not a cut and dry decision.
Okay, y'all got an answer for that, but answer this. How do you give him all those carries against a second-team Philadelphia when you can't give him all of those carries in the playoff game? Answer that one.
That was the problem. Yeah. That was the problem that we just said. So you can't have only 20 attempts.
We're not saying
do that, or 16 attempts.
Yeah, we're not saying that you can't give him.
There's an answer. You're not going to like it. The reason why they did it is obviously to give him 1,000 yards.
Okay,
that's why they did it. But that's why they did it.
But if you're going to give him 1,000 yards, which is more important, the Philadelphia game or the playoff game?
No, you're
playoff.
Definitely the playoff game.
And that's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm telling you.
So that just shows that he's not a priority in this offense, is ultimately what it is. Whether that's because of health, whether that's because of strategy, either one, he's not a priority.
I don't think they thought they could run it. I mean, he was a priority going into week 1 against Tampa, and that they didn't think they could run it. So they didn't. But they didn't do the same game plan though in that game. That's the thing. They did. They got the other receivers
took
involved.
Everything that gave them. Oh, we gave them. Yeah, okay. They gave you the same thing. Remember the third down, and you and Isaiah went off. Man, they backed up 8 yards behind and that should have told me right now, if I'm Dak, now I blame it on Dak. Whoa, man, they just gave us. Right here was the line of scrimmage. Right there was the first down, and they backed up to them TV screens and gave you the first down.
Just gave it to them.
And what was the play? I don't remember. But what was the result?
It was the first down.
They got
the first down. But they was doing it. Isaiah was calling that the whole game. He was calling it, though. Look, they giving it all y'all underneath stuff. So why not just cut them 1,000 times?
Yeah. Yep. Until they change. Until you make an adjustment.
I heard Dak say greedy way too many times this year. He said, I just got too greedy. Stop being greedy. Like,
keep it simple.
Keep it simple, and live
Rookie
for
Dak, Rookie Dak kept it simple.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And, I mean, of course, we've already talked about that, where he had a different offensive line, had some different weapons. It was a certain situation, but maybe keeping it simple.
I'm putting
is the
on my
best way to
phone.
do it.
I've been trying, and my phone been rejecting me for the last 3 hours. I got up this morning, and I got on my phone and said, hello, this is Nate Noon. At this time, I'm not in. I'm scouring the country for a third to fourth round pick, offensive lineman.
I'm away. You're putting your status to away.
I don't know why you keep saying third round offensive lineman. Like, if I'm picking a lineman in the third round, that means he's the second guy that I get. I'm getting the first round.
I've got 2 guys in the first round that I want already, or 2 guys in the first round, and then there's a guy in the second round.
Let me ask you this: is any little wide receivers? I'm talking about like little little fast guys,
like slot guys,
like a Beasley type.
I think this team needs some more quickness. I mean, speed is one thing. I'm sure CD, Amari, they're getting by on people. But I mean, little guys that
was one of the things last year.
Do a couple things. I feel like that's something that's kind of needed for the more quickness, like bubble screen, 3-4 yard first down.
Amari, CD Lamb, number 1, or either number 17. Them are your guys. They quick enough in the middle. They agile enough. They understand it. Put them guys in the middle. Go out and find you a blocking tight end. Anywhere from the 3rd to the 7th round. Go out and find you a greasy, fat defensive player that can stop the run. And this team will be all right.
Big greasy.
I've been and Gallimore, with the other kid that we got. We got guys that can rush the passer. We have to get somebody that's dedicated. That when they lift up their shirt, when they lift up they second roll, not their first jelly roll, but their second roll, you'll find running backs deposited in there. All right?
That's what you thought you had in Quentin Bohanna.
Yeah, then he went on a diet.
They couldn't, but they didn't mature.
He was 380. That's what I wanted.
Yeah,
I wanted the 380. Why are you at 345? What are you doing?
They went to svelte. We want. I don't know about greasy, but sloppy. Yeah.
Well, I mean, to the point where you stink a little bit.
Okay.
See, I had to wash an extra. When I played, I had to wash an extra roll. I just tell Coach Matt, I'm gonna lift up this roll right here. I gotta wash, an extra roll. So when my wife,
these are images that I do not want.
When my wife pull it on me,
and he loved that. He was like, "That's why you got on the All Madden team forever." It was just like, that guy,
man.
John Madden, love Nate.
Yeah,
I've seen some of these old games. I mean, anytime, any example he's got, his go-to was
big old Nate.
I was big enough to be a drawing board.
Yeah.
He just circled anything on my
mind. Oh, man. He loved you, man.
And I love him, man. And I'm going to try to go see his wife. When all of this kind of chilled down, I told Rich, a couple of months, I'm letting it chill down. I'm just going to say drive and just hug her, man, if she'll allow me.
How much of an honor was that they did that documentary? And I mean, they got 10 to 12 people that they had to talk to, that you were one of them.
When they came to my house and I said, where do I fit? They're like, what do you mean? The Santa was like, what do you mean? I'm like, man, John, Hall of Famers love John. I'm just Nate. Where do I fit? He said, we'll see after your interview. And I'm like, wow. I said, but didn't John tell you to come here and interview me? He said, yeah, tell John I love him. Yeah. That's what I laughed at. Tell John I love him.
That's awesome.
Have y'all seen that documentary?
I haven't gotten to watch it yet. I'm going to watch it this week, though.
Yeah.
I've been grinding away, but
I haven't seen it 3
I
times.
couldn't even do the boom. And they say, but the boom is part of, man, I was so caught up emotionally at the time because I was just finished talking about him and saying some things that he told me in life. Then they said, well, we want you to say the boom. I'm like, I can't say the boom right now.
Yeah.
It's
pretty awesome.
He said, well, he looked at me like, no, I hope that don't get me knocked off the show.
Yeah, right. Rest in peace, John Madden. Legend in so many rights, and can't wait to hear some more about him throughout the next coming months.
Send us offensive
I bet you they
John.
do I bet you they do a big Super Bowl thing around him. They would have to, right?
They got to.
Whole presentation around it. So hopefully that'll come. But by the way, you can catch all these guys on their respective podcasts.
Turn the TV off.
Oh, it's not even on our podcast.
Turn the TV off.
It's talking about the
Somebody's
coordinators.
interviewing Dan Quinn.
Quinn gone, big dog.
They're also interviewing Kellen Moore, if you read the second line. So that's
I don't know about Kellen, but Quinn out of here, man. I'm telling you. Quinn
Nick Eatman on Cowboys Break. We've got Barry Church on the Players Lounge.
Dan Quinn, please stay.
Hanging with the boys. I'm on Talking Cowboys.
Dan Quinn, please stay.
The next show, 10 a.m. Central Time on Monday, Players Lounge.
You heard it. You heard it.
And let's hope that Dan Quinn is still here.
Yeah, hopefully Dan Quinn's still here by Monday. But for Chris Beam and all the guys I just mentioned, I'm Kyle Yeomans. We'll see you next time on DallasCowboys.com.
Dan Quinn, we love you.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!